Hello everyone, welcome back. So in today's video, we'll talk about Terraform state recovery. So if you are preparing for job interviews, primarily DevOps or SRE, so in Terraform, this is the most anticipated topic you should expect questions from. So let's understand the three different common failure scenarios. So resource state Terraform state recovery will be using for different uh, failures. So the first scenario is resource corrupted, means you deployed a VM or you deployed a Terraform code and somehow a VM or any resource gets corrupted. So the state file is there already, but infrastructure is not there, or it is halfway created. So whether some script didn't run or anything, it could be right. The next scenario is drift detected. So someone modified manually. So the infrastructure is there with modified data, but the state file is not updated. So although the state file is healthy, but it doesn't matches the current infrastructure. And the next thing is next scenario is state corrupted or lost. So Terraform state file is completely broken or completely lost. So in that case, what we'll do? So the infrastructure is already there, the VMs, VPC, or the Kubernetes clusters are already there, but the state file is not there. So let's go one by one. The first option is first scenario is replace a specific corrupted instance. So the example, you deployed Terraform code and somehow VM is not accessible or corrupted instance or failed startup script, anything it could be, right? So in that case, we need to, how can we restore it? How we can redeploy it? So for that, so state file is already there, right? So we'll do Terraform state list, and from there we can get the name of the VM or any resources, right? So we should be getting like this. So in that case, for example, if you want to restore the VM, and this VM name is VM1, so in that case, we'll simply use Terraform apply hyphen replace equals this VM path, like Google Compute Instance dot VM1. So it will simply restore or redeploy this specific VM1 without touching any other infrastructure objects, right? So next thing is fix infrastructure drift. So the Terraform code is deployed, and after some days or after some weeks, someone changed the infrastructure manually from CLI or from GUI itself. So in that case, Terraform drift will be there, right? So it doesn't match with the actual infra. So someone might have extended the disk, right, of the VM. So in that case, what we'll do simply Terraform plan and Terraform apply. So, but we have to be very cautious that it should not delete anything. Uh, if that's of the whole important, right? So while running Terraform a plan, it will show that this is a resource that is going to be modified. For example, if someone has extended the disk by 50 GB to 100 GB, for example, in that case, it will show that this disk will be increased. So we need to ensure while running Terraform, then it doesn't delete anything. Now, next thing is Terraform state file corrupted or lost. So for this, we have three different scenarios, and this is the most critical scenario of recovery, and we have to be very cautious while doing this recovery. So the first is restore state from GCS versioning. So best case is if you have that backup already, you are backing up somewhere, or you have the versioning enabled. If we talk about S3 or GCS, so we can simply restore it. So we can get the state file details over here, and we can copy it to the GCS backend or the remote backend, wherever the path is, right? So this is pretty straightforward. So if you have if you have the state file in the bucket, say, we can simply copy it from copy it like this, right? Next thing is, okay, so after copying it, we can simply reinitialize Terraform init and Terraform plan, so that it can reconnect to the remote backend or the GCS or S3, whatever it is. Next option, re-import resources using Terraform import. So let's say you only lost specific resource, but the infrastructure still exists. For example, you have the older state file, but some newer state file, some newer, it is missing some newer resources. So in that case, we can use Terraform import. So it doesn't recreate infrastructure, it generates Terraform configuration, and it auto discovers resources, but it only reconnects existing infrastructure to Terraform state. So it's like attaching a Terraform state mapping back to already existing cloud resource. So for that, we can simply use Terraform import Google Compute Instance VM1 VM1. But now the question is, how will you know that this is a VM, or this is a specific VM? Because there in the inside a project there may be a lot of things that may be created using Terraform, and some may not be created using Terraform, right? So in that case, so we have the code already, right? Terraform code, where which was used for deploying. So we can simply use Terraform plan to see what are the resources that it is going to create. Because in the Terraform state file, so those resources are missing, but plan will, while executing the plan, so Terraform will not understand that these are the resources already existing in actual infrastructure, since it is not present in state file. So it will show that these are the VM it is going to create. So from there, from that information, we can get the information like we have this VM and this VM. So we can simply use, like, you can use either this or this. So Terraform import the name of the VM and the project of the VM. So you can get from the project itself. So in this case, the VM1 will be state file. I mean, data of VM1 will be added to state file, Terraform state file. So now next thing is, okay. So after that, we'll run Terraform plan so that it compares the imported infrastructure versus Terraform configuration. So now next thing is the option, last use case, full state recovery. What if you lost everything? If you lost entire Terraform state file and you don't have anything to back up? So this is real pain, I would say, for every DevOps or cloud or SRE engineer. So in that case, first we need to initialize the backend. So using Terraform init, it will reinitialize the backend, or you can also use Terraform init reconfigure. Now, important thing to understand that after a full state loss, Terraform has zero knowledge of existing infrastructure. It doesn't know whether you have the VM created or the VPC or the Kubernetes cluster or the GKE or anything. So it doesn't know anything, right? So in that case, we need to import each resource one by one. And first, we have to discover resource. So one of the discovery is could be like a G-Cloud compute instance list. But again, I would say you are not really aware that what are the resource that was created using code, and what are the resource using, I would say, manually. Or there may be certain groups like who would be using their own infrastructure code, and you are using some or your own infrastructure code. So in that case, this is not going to help, although you can get some insight, but this is not going to help. In that case, what you need to do, so you have the code already, so we are working on the same project, so other teams also working on the same project, so each of the teams have different code, right? So you have your code ready. So in that case, you can run simply Terraform plan to check what are the resource it is going to create. Because if you don't have the resource, if you don't have Terraform state file, so it will the code will, or Terraform plan will understand that it doesn't have an infrastructure creator, it doesn't have the resource creator, right? So in that case, it will try to provision the resource. So from there, you can get all the resources that it is going to provision, and after that, you have to run like Terraform import each resource one by one. So whether it is Terraform import Google Comp VM, and or you have to provide the entire path. So in this way, you can resource import all the resources. So, and after that, you can run Terraform plan and apply, so that you can understand what resource it has created, or what if there is any conflict. So all right, so I think it makes some sense. I got some clarity. Thank you so much for watching. See you next video. Bye bye.